Check out these blueprints. Over the next few weeks, we're going to take a look at the different brands and companies that go into building the American home and trade them. This week, we're starting with the basics, stuff like the walls, floors, roof, window, and doors, made by companies like Masco, Vulcan, and Mohawk. And our next guest will tell us which names are the best buys right now. Joining us is Philip Ng. He's a managing director at Jefferies. Philip, it's great to have you. You know, a lot of these names are actually often infrastructure plays, right? So is that a help or a hindrance?
It's a positive. Infrastructure demand's been pretty muted. Funding's been a little choppy the last few years. So with a potential infrastructure bill by the end of the month, that's going to be pretty impactful. We're talking about potentially a 50% increase in federal funding. So be a big positive, like your previous guest, for some of these industrials and certainly some of the construction material guys we cover, like a Vulcan, Martin, Summit, and Eagle Materials. So that'd be a nice positive going forward.
Right. I think that it also could be a headwind if it's not there. But I think the fundamentals we're talking about in the housing market might explain where demand is going to come from for some of these names regardless. So let's start out. Who would your top picks for residential construction be and why?
Yeah, I mean, on the residential side, we remain quite bullish. The demographics and how underbuilt we are this cycle is very constructive. Our favorite plays on the R&I side would be Fortune brands. You were talking about brands, and Fortune definitely has some really strong brands at Bowen, Master Lock. And that's important because in this environment where material inflation is an issue, they have real pricing power, and those brands have allowed the company to really outpace the broader market. So on the R&R side, we like Fortune brands. And for a more concentrated new construction play, we like a company called TopBuild, which is the largest insulation installer. And we're hearing about people talking about labor being tight. That's great for a big guy like TopBuild. That gives them leverage and pricing power, and their access to material has helped them navigate this environment a lot better. So we like TopBuild on the housing side.
An inflation installer, also an insulation installer and an insulation manufacturer in Owens Corning.
Yes, we like Owens Corning a lot as well. Very cheap stock. We would make the argument that insulation's arguably under-earned this cycle, but like any commodity, Tyler, supply-demand is very tight. It's a levered play to new construction, and we certainly have a pretty bullish view on housing. And we've seen 4 price increases on the insulation side this year. So there's a real opportunity for margins to really expand the next few years. And as the market leader in Owens Corning on the insulation side, we like Owens Corning quite a bit as well.
I wasn't all that far off. Insulation inflation. How about that? And AZEK is another is another choice, or is it AZEK? I don't know. It sounds like they manufacture synthetic products to replace, say, wood that might rot.
Yeah, AZEK's a great story. It's a secular growth story, right? So they do composite decks and exterior trim, and you named it, right? Just given the impact of, well, first of all, the housing stock in this country is at an all-time high. So you're going to have old homes that need to be renovated. And when you have the exteriors dynamic with wood rotting, a composite deck and exterior trim that's made out of plastic is great. The technology's gotten a lot better. It looks like the real thing. And I'm not the most handy guy, Tyler, so just having something out there that requires very little upkeep is great. And we're starting to see the consumer get a little more educated on that category, and we're seeing 20 to 30% growth in that composite decking market. So it's a great secular growth story.